Suddenly, cracks split open across the land, fine fissures spreading rapidly in all directions. From within them, a burst of violet luminescence surged out, flooding the terrain. From a distance, it looked as if a violet sun had been hidden beneath the earth, now breaking through the crust. With a thunderous roar, the ground shattered, stones flying as they were pulverized by the aura of the bloodsword, forming a massive crater. The crater expanded rapidly, plunging deep underground. In a flash of brilliant violet light, the surface split wide open, revealing what lay buried beneath. From the flickering glow emerged a monstrous beast, hundreds of zhang long, its body serpent-like and entirely violet. It had no head, only a jagged fissure at its front, from which gushed a stream of poisonous violet liquid that surged directly toward the bloodsword. With a deafening crash, the bloodsword tore through the toxic flow and plunged straight into the beast's head fissure, slicing deep into its massive body, penetrating effortlessly like a blade through bamboo. A shrill roar echoed from beneath the earth. The bloodsword pulsed with blinding light, unleashing an unending rumble deep underground. Hovering in midair, Wang Lin formed hand seals, then swept his arms forward. In that instant, a colossal palm seal materialized with a deafening boom, descending straight toward the earth. All of this happened in the blink of an eye. As soon as the palm seal appeared, it absorbed an immense amount of primordial energy, summoning a howling tempest. With a thunderous crash, it slammed into the ground. The impact caused the earth to quake. Countless withered trees were instantly reduced to ash, flung outward in all directions. The palm seal struck with immense force, triggering a seismic shockwave that surged deep into the ground. Still won't come out? A cold gleam flashed in Wang Lin's eyes. The moment the palm seal landed, the ground began to collapse. Layers of soil turned to dust and scattered, crumbling apart until a massive sinkhole appeared. At the bottom of the pit, part of a gray-white skull was exposed, the socket of its right eye. This skull was enormous, almost stretching beneath the entirety of the forest above. From the exposed eye socket for purple, serpent-like fierce beasts burst forth, letting out bone-chilling shrieks. From high in the air, Wang Lin clearly saw, through the gaps between those writhing beasts, a massive fleshy tumor hidden within the skull. The four serpent-like creatures were, in fact, the tentacles of that tumor. They resembled the creature Wang Lin once fought, Wang Yu, but this was certainly not it. Earlier, upon inspecting the withered forest, Wang Lin had immediately discovered that beneath the trees lay a colossal skull. The entire forest had grown atop it. Within that skull, he sensed a violent, rampaging life force. When his divine sense swept over it, it provoked an immediate attack. Without hesitation, Wang Lin had soared into the air and launched the bloodsword to strike first. With his current cultivation, Wang Lin could even face off against the likes of Wang Yu of the Luo Tian star domain in the past. This strange beast, though similar, was far weaker. Even a third-step Ling Dong had become his ancient slave, clear testament to Wang Lin's power and growth. Calm in mind and body, Wang Lin shot downward like lightning, closing in on the four entangled tentacles. As they whipped toward him, his left eye ignited with 9 colored flames. With a sweep of his right hand, a flame tempest exploded forth, engulfing all 4 tentacles. With a crackling roar, the flames ignited, blazing wildly. Amid ear-piercing screams, the fire followed the tentacles into the skull's right eye socket, rushing toward the core. Within, blood-red light flashed as the bloodsword continued to wreak havoc, slicing violently. The howls grew more desperate. Then, in a sudden burst of violet light, the fleshy tumor shrank rapidly. It transformed into a beam of violet light that shot out from the skull's eye socket, fleeing toward the sky. As it emerged, its full form was revealed, a grotesque, tumorous mass with countless writhing tentacles, surrounded by waves of stench. It looked almost exactly like Wang Yu. Had it possessed even a trace of ancient god power, Wang Lin might have believed it to be a mutated Wang Yu. Expression icy, Wang Lin's right eye flashed, the thunder diagram ignited and erupted. The sky above the forest trembled as an enormous thunder vortex formed, replacing the heavens. The thunder diagram descended straight toward the fleeing tumor. As it fell, countless bolts of thunder rained down, striking the creature. 3 breaths later, the thunder diagram fully descended, engulfing the tumor in a blinding storm. Thunder crashed, a final shriek rang out, and the monstrous tumor was obliterated, not a trace remaining. Having annihilated the bizarre entity, Wang Lin's eyes sparkled like lightning. He landed slowly within the crater, stepping onto the exposed skull. With a wave of his right hand, all the surrounding soil vanished. In an instant, nearly half the vast forest disappeared entirely. Layers of earth peeled back like a storm-tossed sheet, revealing what had been buried beneath for countless years, a massive, ancient skull. The skull was enormous, and the part exposed at this moment was only half of it. At the center of its brow, 9 star points were branded, but the 9th star was slightly blurred. 9-star ancient god. Wang Lin's eyes flashed, and he took a deep breath. This was the first time in his life that he had seen the corpse of a 9-star ancient god. Staring at the skull, Wang Lin fell silent. He could immediately tell that the position where the 7-colored statue had previously been placed was precisely the part of the skull where its human center lay, a point that controlled the entire head. Or perhaps, the purpose of the 7-colored statue's existence here was to seal it. To seal the head of this 9-star ancient god. A trace of sorrow spread across Wang Lin's eyes. He was an ancient god, and after entering this ancient tomb, he had seen many ancient god skulls. His emotions were deeply complicated. Now, seeing the skull of this 9-star ancient god, all those complex emotions surged together, turning into a tide of sadness within his heart. Even the 9-star ancient gods are dead. Wang Lin slowly walked to the center of the skull's brow, crouched down, and gently stroked the star point brand on the skull. There was barely any ancient god aura left within the skull. Almost all of it had dissipated over the years, lost to the flow of time. As Wang Lin stroked the star point brand on the skull, it wasn't hard for him to guess what had happened in the past. He vaguely saw the image of a gigantic body, a battle-hardened ancient god, slain by a cultivator dressed in 7-colored robes. After severing the head, the cultivator sealed it here with a statue. Years turned to dust, and the place eventually became overgrown with trees, slowly transforming into a forest. In the silence, Wang Lin's gaze suddenly sharpened. He studied the skull carefully and furrowed his brow. The power of a 9-star ancient god is unimaginable. Furthermore, its body was enormous. Its skull surely couldn't have been this small, unless it had suppressed its true form and shrunk down, or perhaps... Wang Lin's eyes flickered. In the next moment, his body swayed, and he slipped into the right eye socket of the ancient god's skull, entering the interior. Inside, it was vast. After a long time, Wang Lin emerged, holding a palm-sized bone fragment in his hand. Ancient gods undergo 3 losses and 7 calamities. This one was slain during the 2nd loss. Wang Lin sat cross-legged on the skull's brow, staring at the bone fragment in his hand, his expression thoughtful. What exactly is this ancient tomb? Who created it, and what is its purpose? Wang Lin pondered, recalling everything that had happened since he entered the tomb. This place was full of mystery, and up to now, he still hadn't unraveled its secrets. But he clearly remembered a scene from the Tao spirit, the words that had left a deep impact on his mind. Using Tao pills to nurture the heavenly Tao is no simple task. I need to find another method to make the heavenly Tao I seized grow rapidly. Wang Lin's gaze flickered. These words had been on his mind ever since he heard them. Literally, the heavenly Tao had been seized by the 7-colored Taoist. But from where had it been taken, and from whose hands? Wang Lin couldn't know that, but what he could focus on was the phrase, need to find another method. Another method. Wang Lin glanced down at the skull beneath him, and a bold speculation surfaced in his mind. What if the 7-colored Taoist is the ancient immortal emperor? This person, before obtaining the reverse heavenly compass, seized a heavenly Tao. For some reason, he needed to nurture it. However, he found it difficult to nurture it using Tao's spirit alone, so he set up a trap. Wang Lin's eyes grew brighter as he continued analyzing. He clearly remembered that the first-generation vermilion bird once mentioned that in his world, ancient gods existed, and even though ancient gods were not considered sovereigns, they could challenge even the strongest beings in their world. And the first-generation vermilion bird also mentioned a name, Dao Gu Yima. Why is it called Dao Gu Yima, not ancient god Yima, or ancient demon Yima, or ancient devil Yima? Why Dao Gu? Could the name itself hint that Yima is not a god, demon, or devil, but ancient? And when I first encountered the ancient demon Taga in the demon spirit land, this demon spoke of the first-generation reverse cultivator who fought against the heavenly Tao and perished. Later, 3 clans were born as the 2nd generation who battled the heavenly Tao. Then there was the heavenly Tao envoy that appeared before Xun'er's lifespan ended. Clearly, this was an ancient god sealed away, and again, in the Lightning Thunder clan, the heavenly Tao envoy appeared. I severed one of his arms, but before he left, upon realizing I was an ancient god, he said that I was from the tribe of the Destroyers of the Void. Wang Lin's breathing became more hurried. He seemed to be getting closer to a realization. The Destroyers of the Void. They say the heavenly Tao is dead, but the heavenly Tao envoy called me from the destroyers of the void. The answer is clear. But the void? Who is this void? Could it be that void is the seven-colored Taoist, the ancient immortal emperor, the master of the first-generation vermilion bird, the immortal venerable? But if this is truly the case, there are still many things that don't make sense. Why would the heavenly Tao envoy be an ancient god? If the heavenly Tao is dead, then what exactly is the heavenly Tao? I'm not referring to its form, but its existence and its connection to this starry sky. Tao cultivation, Tao cultivation. Could it be that the path we cultivators follow is this unknown heavenly Tao that may or may not truly be death? Wang Lin's eyes revealed confusion. People like the immortal emperor, when they act, they must have full confidence. Since he was able to set up a scheme to lure Dao Gu, he should have succeeded. But in the end, why was the heavenly Tao killed? And back when I was in the Alliance Star Domain, during my tribulation, I accidentally opened a spatial rift. My divine sense entered, and I saw a strange world. There were many statues of ancient gods, ancient demons, and ancient monsters. What was that place? Is it related to this ancient tomb, and is it also connected to the seven-colored Taoist? Also, the vermilion birds of every generation have almost all been sealed, with the focus pointing to the Palm Sovereign's teacher. Who was the teacher of the Palm Sovereign? And that silver-clad woman, after seeing the statue of the seven-colored Taoist, screamed madly, continuously saying that the gate was not opened by her. What gate was it, and why did the seven-colored Taoist become so enraged and massacre afterward? Could this gate be the one that nurtures the heavenly Tao? Or is it the gate that seals and traps its enemies? Or is it the gate to another world? Or perhaps all my speculations are wrong. Wang Lin furrowed his brows. With all the clues at hand, this was all he could analyze, but whether it was correct, he didn't know. When the Fifth Order tomb platform was formed, the one who called himself Dao Gu Yima said that if his people could enter the reincarnation gate and gain inheritance, they would succeed. If they weren't his people, they would go to the underworld. The underworld? What is that? Wang Lin rubbed his brow, his gaze flickering. Regardless, the existence of this ancient tomb must be deeply related to the seven-colored Taoist. Could it be the place he left behind to nurture the heavenly Tao? Or perhaps it's truly the place where Dao Gu Yima left his inheritance before he died. Is this place the ancient tomb of Dao Gu Yima? The more Wang Lin thought, the more tangled his mind became, and he couldn't make sense of it. After a long pause, he sighed softly and stopped pondering over these vexing matters. His eyes flashed, and he looked around at the remaining withered trees on the outer edge of the ground. If my guess is right, these trees were planted by someone, and while sealing the ancient god's skull with the statues, these trees were meant to absorb the ancient god's aura within the skull. The reason they all withered and died is that the ancient god's aura in the skull dissipated over countless years, and without any more nourishment, these trees naturally withered. When Greedy Wolf came here, he only saw one with spirit. I guess this is the only one left. If Greedy Wolf hadn't come, after some more time, the last tree would have withered too. From this, we can also see that, aside from Greedy Wolf, no one has been here for a very long time. The person who planted the trees likely never came back after planting them. Wang Lin's gaze flickered, and after a moment of contemplation, a decisive light appeared in his eyes. He sat cross-legged at the center of the skull's brow, took a deep breath, and, with a hand gesture, a large number of restrictions roared out and spread across the sky, forming a protective shield. He also conjured the thunder diagram in the sky, deeply concealing himself. At the same time, 9 colored flames spread across the sky, and even the blood sword was summoned and hidden in the heavens. These preparations, intertwined, formed a powerful slaughter formation. If anyone were to rush in, they would immediately collide with it. With the protective measures in place, Wang Lin wasted no time. The ancient god's power within him surged and gradually entered the skull beneath him. The skull seemed like a bottomless pit, allowing Wang Lin's ancient god's power to flow in without any change. Time passed, and Wang Lin didn't stop, continuously channeling his ancient god's power into the skull. Gradually, the ancient god's star marks on his brow began to flicker, 6 star points rotating around him. The ancient god's power flowed out even more strongly. Several hours later, as Wang Lin decisively used his ancient god's power to nourish the skull, he clearly saw that the ancient god's skull beneath him had undergone some changes. The surrounding withered trees seemed to have been nourished and gradually emitted traces of vitality. However, to revitalize all the trees, it would take too much time, and Wang Lin's ancient god's power was insufficient. After a moment of contemplation, Wang Lin gave up on reviving all the trees and instead focused his ancient god's power, through the skull, to envelop the 19 withered trees, providing them with full support. As time passed, the 19 trees slowly began to transform from their withered state, their vitality increasing, and the bottoms of their trunks slowly began to recover, gradually spreading upward. This process was rather tedious. While maintaining the flow of ancient god's power, Wang Lin raised his right hand and tapped his brow. With a booming sound, the Celestial Emperor Furnace manifested before him. The Celestial Emperor Furnace could change size, and at the moment, it was only 10 zhang in diameter. Inside, it was murky, with faint sounds of high-pitched shrieks. Wang Lin focused on it, making a hand gesture to direct the furnace. Suddenly, the murky essence inside the Celestial Emperor Furnace dissipated, and what appeared before Wang Lin's eyes was a vast black poison sea within the furnace. The sea was eerily still. Not a single ripple stirred its waters, and inside, countless poisonous souls of incense were trapped. Refine. Wang Lin pointed with his right hand, and instantly, the poison sea inside the furnace seemed to ignite, emitting a muffled roar. A massive wave rose, forming a huge vortex that spun violently. This sea is a result of the strange tongue poison of the Great Barren Sage, mixed with the incense souls of Mystic Tone Dao Venerable. Once I refine it, it will become a powerful poison artifact. Wang Lin's expression remained calm as he began the refining process. The roars from the poison sea within the furnace grew louder, while the endless incense souls emitted piercing, sorrowful screams. The sound was unbearably shrill but was blocked by the Celestial Emperor Furnace, diminishing significantly by the time it reached the outside world. The roaring continued, and gradually, thick black mist began to float above the poison sea. This mist was the gas released from the refining of the sea, slowly spreading throughout the Celestial Emperor Furnace. However, this mist couldn't dissipate. Instead, it accumulated, and eventually, it transformed into dark clouds. Drops of black rain fell from these clouds into the sea. This scene seemed to be a cycle, but in reality, as the seawater turned into rain, the poison within became even stronger. The evaporated poison wasn't disappearing into thin air but was gathering, making the sea's toxicity more concentrated. Before long, the black clouds within the Celestial Emperor Furnace grew thicker, and torrential rain fell, causing the waves to roar. As Wang Lin continued his refining, the sea level gradually decreased. After 3 days, despite the constant rain, the sea had dropped by nearly half. The water's color had turned an inky black, and even one's spiritual sense couldn't penetrate it. The poison inside was even more terrifying. Seeing no unusual events, and the poison sea steadily being refined, Wang Lin relaxed. With a flick of his hand, the poison sea inside the Celestial Emperor Furnace vanished, replaced by a new realm. In this new realm, the sea spread endlessly, but this time, the water was purple, and it contained numerous rare incense souls. The spirit Agile Sage sat cross-legged at the bottom of the sea, his hands performing sealing gestures as he frantically refined the incense souls, attempting to change them into his own offering of incense. Behind the spirit Agile Sage stood a massive statue, the demon god statue of his Lingong clan. The statue radiated blinding light, and any incense soul caught in this light seemed confused and struggled. Some of the incense souls appeared to have been altered, offering their incense power to the spirit Agile Sage. His complexion flushed, revealing hidden excitement. Wang Lin observed this, his brow furrowing slightly. These incense souls belonged to Mystic Tone Dao Venerable, and to alter them would take a long time, even for the spirit Agile Sage. While Wang Lin wasn't in a hurry, if the sage could speed up the process and break through to the third step, it would be of great help to him inside this ancient tomb. After a moment of contemplation, Wang Lin separated a fragment of his primordial spirit and merged it with the Celestial Emperor Furnace. Suddenly, his figure appeared above the purple sea in the furnace. Ancient slave. A commanding voice echoed within the Celestial Emperor Furnace. The spirit Agile Sage, sitting cross-legged at the bottom of the sea, suddenly opened his eyes, revealing intense respect and reverence. He leaped from the seabed, soaring through the air with a thunderous roar, kneeling before Wang Lin. Wang Lin's figure, formed from his primordial spirit, coldly gazed at the spirit Agile Sage. After a long silence, he slowly spoke. I grant you a technique. With your cultivation, you should be able to learn it quickly. Use this technique to swiftly merge the incense power here and take your true step into the third step. The spirit Agile Sage's eyes flared with fervor. His entire life had been devoted to cultivation, with the goal of reaching the third step of power. Unfortunately, he had always been held back by the incense power, never advancing. Now, with Wang Lin's dream Tao and the Celestial Emperor furnaces refining, he could achieve his goal. Even without these, if Wang Lin granted him this rare opportunity, he would gladly obey any command. To attain the Tao, he would sacrifice anything. Wang Lin raised his right hand and pointed forward. A seal shot toward the Spirit Agile Sage's forehead. The sage did not try to evade it and let the seal penetrate deeply into his head, entering his primordial spirit. Tao art merge. Quickly grasped this technique. Wang Lin's gaze shifted as he observed the sage. He was very satisfied with the Spirit Agile Sage's submission. With the Celestial Emperor Furnace and his various methods, he had no fear of the sage betraying him. If I could encounter a third-step power at the early Void Nirvana stage again and have the Spirit Agile Sage cooperate, fighting would be no problem. If I could capture and refine them into another ancient slave, Wang Lin thought excitedly as his spiritual projection disappeared from the sea sky, returning to his original form. Meanwhile, outside the ancient tomb, a giant from the Fontian Wolf clan stepped onto the Fifth Order burial platform. With unstoppable momentum, he surged through the endless mist, getting closer and closer to his goal. It's not far now. In 3 days, I'll be there. If I can obtain 9 leaves like these, combined with my clan's divine abilities, I can ensure the Fontian Wolf Tao stays with me forever, sealing its return path for my own use. At that time, even though my cultivation will still be at the early stage of Void Nirvana, I will be the strongest among them. The Fontian Wolf clan giant's eyes gleamed with excitement, and he accelerated the burial platform's speed. After several hours, Ling Dong had fully comprehended the fusion Tao art. Though it wasn't as profound as Wang Lin's understanding, he could still perform the fusion of these faith souls, now without a master. Inside the Celestial Emperor Furnace, the violent movement of the ocean intensified, suddenly forming a massive vortex. At the center of the vortex stood Ling Dong, his eyes glowing with a strange light as he wielded the Tao art granted by Wang Lin, rapidly initiating the fusion. Outside the Celestial Emperor Furnace, Wang Lin remained seated in meditation, continuously channeling ancient god power to nourish the 19 trees. At this moment, the trees no longer appeared withered. While radiating vigorous life force, signs of budding leaves began to appear on the branches. Retracting his gaze, Wang Lin raised his right hand and swept it to the side. The storage space cracked open as he reached inside and pulled out the sealed girl from the Seal Annihilation clan. The girl, though not exceptionally beautiful, still possessed a graceful appearance. Her black hair framed a pale face, her eyes tightly shut. A faint look of fear flickered in her expression, evoking an instinctive sense of pity in anyone who gazed upon her. "What's your name?" Wang Lin asked calmly as he released part of the seal, allowing her to regain consciousness, though her eyes remained closed. Upon hearing Wang Lin's question, the girl's lashes fluttered. Slowly, she opened her eyes. Her eyes were beautiful, with clear distinction between the black and white, but now they were filled with panic. She bit her lower lip, afraid to look at Wang Lin. As he stared at her, another face flashed in Wang Lin's mind. The same panic, the same fear, but in the other face's eyes, there was defiance and hatred. "She looks just like Yoshishue." Wang Lin's gaze slowly grew cold as he spoke. "What's your name?" "Ji-Man." "Feng Ji-Man." The Seal Annihilation clan girl's voice trembled as she whispered. "Ji-Man. A good name. You died twice before. How did you survive?" Wang Lin asked calmly, his natural aura of pressure surrounding her. "I am a maidservant to the mystic Tone Tao Venerable. If you capture me, Tao Venerable will certainly kill you." The girl bit her lip, lifting her gaze to Wang Lin, still overwhelmed with fear, though she tried to suppress it. "He cannot enter the tomb," Wang Lin said slowly. Upon hearing these words, the girl's face turned even paler. She was an intelligent person, and the meaning behind Wang Lin's words immediately registered in her mind. "Impossible. Tao Venerable's avatar cannot be killed." The girl shrieked in fear, her voice rising in pitch. Wang Lin coldly regarded her, offering no explanation. Instead, he flipped his right hand, revealing a jade slip that he threw at her. It stuck to her forehead, and images of Mystic Tone Tao Venerable's death filled the girl's mind. The girl, being close to Mystic Tone Tao Venerable, was well versed in Tao Venerable's divine abilities, so she could easily discern whether the images were real or fake. Her face grew increasingly pale as she recognized the truth in those images. With Wang Lin and the Great Baron Sage's collaboration, Mystic Tone, whose avatar had been suppressed in cultivation, had no chance of survival. The scene where the great Baron Sage had taken over Mystic Tone's body shattered the girl's last shred of hope, causing her to tremble uncontrollably. My patience is limited. If you do not answer my questions, I will search your soul. Wang Lin's voice grew colder as he understood some of the Seal Annihilation clan's peculiarities. He did not immediately search her soul, but aimed to break her spirit first. Fear deepened in the girl's eyes. She understood that she had no chance of escape now. Her master was dead, severing any hope of retreat. We have no deep enmity between us. Even though you chased me, I've already killed you once, so that balances it out. If you cooperate, I won't kill you. I might even let you go. Wang Lin said slowly. Our Seal Annihilation clan members have 3 lives. The girl fell silent for a moment before speaking softly. From which divine ability? Wang Lin's eyes flashed as he quickly asked. It's not a divine ability. When a member of our Seal Annihilation clan is born, the elders take them to offer sacrifices to our ancestors. After the sacrificial rites, they are granted 3 lives, the girl replied, biting her lips softly. You dare to hide this from me, seeking death? Don't blame Wang for this. Wang Lin's eyes flashed with murderous intent, and his right hand suddenly lifted, striking towards the girl's forehead. The girl's eyes widened with terror as she looked up, her voice sharp and hoarse as she cried out, I didn't hide anything. When our clan members are born, there's no mark on their foreheads. Only after the ancestral rites do they receive the clan mark, and with it, they gain 3 lives. Wang Lin's right hand paused just 3 inches above the young girl's forehead, his gaze cold and fixed on her. Tell me, how's the sealing technique of the Seal Annihilation clan cast? The girl, terrified, replied hurriedly, sacrifice life, activate the clan's seal, and ancestral power will spill out from the seal to perform the sealing. As soon as her words left her mouth, Wang Lin's right hand slammed down onto her forehead, his spiritual sense surging in and initiating a soul search. The girl, her mind breaking from resistance, had her memory swept away in an instant by Wang Lin. With his current cultivation, Wang Lin could search the soul without harming it. Once he knew everything from the girl's memories, his eyes flashed, and he raised his hand, brushing it across the center of her brow. With a slight shudder, he forcibly extracted the mark from her forehead. With a wave of his hand, the seal spread across the girl's body, and after collecting it into his storage space, Wang Lin fell into deep thought, staring at the faintly glowing Seal Annihilation clan seal in his palm. The Seal Annihilation clan was a peculiar one. Its members were not blood-related, but were infants captured from other places. After a ritual sacrifice, if they survived, they became clan members. The chances of survival were slim, and long ago, the clan's altar mysteriously disappeared. Therefore, Seal Annihilation clan members were extremely rare today. Furthermore, since their clan seals were branded onto their bodies, losing the seal didn't lead to death nor a decrease in cultivation. It simply meant they no longer belonged to the Seal Annihilation clan. Aside from their strange sealing power, the most remarkable thing about the Seal Annihilation clan was their triple life art. This technique could be stolen and used on oneself. The Mystic Tone Tao Venerable had this very intention in mind, which led her to great efforts to find a member of the Seal Annihilation clan, intending to take her as a servant. However, the method to gain the triple life art was so difficult that it required a journey to the Seal Annihilation clan's altar, with a very low chance of success. Failure would lead to backlash, and since the altar had been missing for so long, the process had been delayed. After storing the Seal Annihilation clan's seal, Wang Lin remained silent for a moment before putting it away. As for the Seal Annihilation clan girl, he had no intention of killing her. She wasn't his enemy. He only took her clan's seal, and after leaving the ancient tomb, he would let her go. Just after putting away the clan's seal, Wang Lin suddenly shifted his gaze, looking at the 19 trees nourished by the power of the ancient god. These trees were full of life, bursting with green vitality, and countless leaves had appeared on them. However, none of these leaves were ancient breath leaves. Wang Lin didn't rush. As the ancient god's power continued to flow in, one tree began to act as if it was entering autumn. Its leaves began to fall, but one leaf remained attached. All of the ancient god's power that had been absorbed by the tree suddenly surged toward this one leaf. Wang Lin's eyes remained fixed on it. After absorbing a large amount of ancient god's power, the leaf's glow flickered rapidly, yet it still did not show any aura of an ancient breath leaf. In an instant, The root of the leaf began to loosen, as if it were about to fall from the tree like the others. Wang Lin's gaze tightened, and just as he focused, the leaf completely detached from the tree. Its light faded as it fell to the ground, turning into something ordinary. The tree stopped absorbing ancient God's power, slowly withered, and eventually turned to ash, scattering away. Wang Lin frowned. Meanwhile, the remaining 18 trees also started shedding their leaves. From their appearance, they were strikingly similar to the first tree. If this continued, Wang Lin might have spent much time and vast amounts of ancient God's power only to see it go to waste. Why is this happening? Could I have misjudged? Ancient breath leaves. Ancient breath leaves. Ancient. Wang Lin's eyes suddenly gleamed as if he had grasped an important realization. He suddenly sprang to his feet, staring at the 18 trees ahead. Taking a deep breath, he blew forward. His breath, transformed by his aura, became a gust of wind, howling toward the 18 trees. This wind was infused with the ancient god's aura. As the wind swept across, the leaves on the 18 trees rustled and fell. Only 18 leaves remained, still attached to the trees, but now they shimmered with brilliant light, as if they had absorbed his breath. Wang Lin's eyes lit up with joy. He raised his right hand and grabbed the air. In an instant, the 18 leaves detached from the trees and flew toward him, orbiting in front of him. Ancient breath leaves. His joy hadn't subsided when yet another surprise arrived. Inside the celestial emperor furnace, in the poison sea realm, a tremendous rumble echoed, and the sea of poison dissipated, transforming into 9 drops of poison that would astound even the great Baron Sage. Each drop of poison contained countless faith souls and the deadliest poison in the world. 3 surprises in a row. In another realm of the celestial emperor furnace, the spirit Agile Sage, who had absorbed 40% of the violet sea faith souls, finally took that crucial half step. With a thunderous howl, he reached the true 3rd step, Great Power Realm. The violet sea vortex spun furiously, and the spirit Agile Sage charged out of it, his eyes filled with excitement, his body radiating an overwhelming aura. Countless strands of devotional power twisted around Spirit Agile Sage's body like illusory ribbons, flickering in and out of view. It was a distinct mark of the 3rd step. After the 3rd joy, came the 4th. In this forest-filled world, thunder rumbled across the heavens. Amid the waves of distortion, a burial platform 5,000 feet long burst halfway into view. Atop it stood a burly man, momentarily stunned. He hadn't expected to see Wang Lin here. But his reaction was swift. With a flick of his left hand, an ancient breath leaf manifested and was slapped to his chest, sealing his emotional fluctuations within, preventing Wang Lin from stirring latent fire in him. His eyes narrowed with scorn as he formed a hand seal with his right hand and pointed forward. Instantly, a 1,000-foot-tall Photon wolf took shape outside his body, roaring as it charged straight toward the thunder diagram. But at that very moment, a wave of 9 colored flames blazed into being behind the thunder diagram, erupting into a seething sea of fire. It instantly engulfed the Photon wolf. Amidst flickers of blood-red light, a blood sword shot forth, piercing directly through the wolf, hurtling toward the burly man. Meeting me here marks your death. So you're the one who obtained the 5th burial platform. Kill you, and I'll have 6. I'll reach 6th order. Blame your own misfortune. Sneaking around treasure hunting and bumping into me. The man let out a booming laugh and swept his left hand forward. Devotional power materialized again, forming another 1,000-foot wolf which roared and surged toward the blood sword. Then he strode forward like lightning, his momentum unstoppable. He blasted through Wang Lin's restriction seal, closing in fast. His gaze locked onto the 18 ancient breath leaves floating before Wang Lin, hunger gleaming in his eyes. Kill you? Seize the leaves, 2 birds, 1 stone. What a stroke of luck. A smile curled on his face as he lunged, his right hand clawing toward Wang Lin with a thunderous grab. Talk too much. Wang Lin's expression remained calm. At the very instant the man arrived, Wang Lin swung his right hand, and the celestial emperor furnace roared into view, hurtling toward the attacker. You're doomed today. Resistance is meaningless, the man sneered, slapping his right palm casually against the incoming furnace. A thunderous vibration rang out. But then, at the exact point of impact, an overwhelming rebound force erupted from the celestial emperor furnace. It surged up the man's arm and into his body, contorting his expression as he coughed up blood. He staggered backward in shock. From within the furnace came a peal of triumphant laughter. Then, Spirit Agile Sage, blood at the corners of his mouth, burst out amid a surge of the purple sea, stepping onto a towering wave. Murderous intent gleamed in his eyes as he stormed toward the man. Devotional power surged endlessly around him, accompanied by murmuring chants. Ling Dong. The burly man's pupil shrank, a foreboding chill gripping him. Ling Dong's sudden appearance completely disrupted his calculation regarding Wang Lin. Now, shaken and stunned by the overwhelming devotional power around Ling Dong, he couldn't fathom why the man would side with Wang Lin. Zhou Jin. Ling Dong roared as he charged forward. In a flash, he reached the Fontian Wolf clan man. With a bellow, he swung his arms wide, and from the waves surged a massive black statue. Its arms, once crossed over its chest, spread apart with a low growl, unleashing a terrifying power of annihilation directly at the man. Panicked, the man retreated. Forming a rapid seal, he tore open a dark rift behind him. A stench of blood filled the air, and from that rift, a pair of crimson eyes emerged. Cold and pitiless. A soul-piercing wolf's howl shook the heavens. Then, from the rift, a massive red wolf, several thousand feet long, burst out, charging straight at the statue Ling Dong had summoned. Heart-pounding, Zhou Jin cursed inwardly. Not good. Wang Lin alone was no pushover, cunning and powerful. Now with Ling Dong, who had clearly stepped into the third step, Zhou Jin didn't hesitate. Abandoning all pride as a third-step cultivator, he immediately began to retreat, unwilling to fight further. This battle is lost. I must flee. Back when Spirit Agile Sage faced his fifth decay of heaven and man, I was still a junior. If not for his arrogance and lack of devotional power, he'd have become a third step long ago. Wang Lin remained standing atop the ancient god's skull, unmoving. His expression barely changed. His robes billowed in the breeze as he silently watched the man from the Fontian Wolf clan, who had once relentlessly hunted him through the ancient tomb, now retreat in panic. A trace of mockery curved Wang Lin's lips as he spoke slowly. You rejoiced when you saw me. But when I saw you, I rejoiced even more. With a flick of his right hand, 2 of the 18 ancient breath leaves shot forward at unimaginable speed. Just as the rift behind the man tore open, just as the red wolf let out its roar, the leaves pierced space with a thunderous boom, sealing the rift in an instant. Retreat. Wang Lin pointed forward with his right hand. 2 ancient breath leaves shot out swiftly before him. They moved so fast they could seal all things under the heavens. In a flash, they had passed the burly man and sealed the space behind him. The burly man knew the strange power of the ancient breath leaves. He abruptly changed direction and took a step to the left. To the left, 2 more leaves flickered out in front of Wang Lin, sealing the space to the man's left with a thunderous boom. Just as the burly man's body swayed and he dashed to the right, a cold smile curled on Wang Lin's lips. With a wave of his hand, the leaves on both sides shot out, sealing the space to the right. To the right now? Even above and below are blocked. For more ancient breath leaves burst forth, sealing off every direction, above and below. The only path left was forward, but at that moment, the way ahead was thundering with chaos. The power from the statue of the Spirit Agile Sage was engaged in fierce combat with the Red Wolf, unleashing waves of shock and roaring sound. Wang Lin stepped forward. With a sweep of his right hand, all remaining ancient breath leaves before him shot out toward the Fontian Wolf clan warrior. The Spirit Agile Sage burst out from the melee, charging straight at the man. Under the thunderous assault, all of the burly man's escape routes were blocked. At this critical moment, he formed a hand seal with both hands and pointed forward. Instantly, countless worship souls surged from within his body, expanding outward into a distorted mass. From within that distortion, sharp barbs suddenly protruded from his arms, barbs that resembled the fangs of a wolf. Wolves worshipping the moon, the man growled as he swept his arms. With loud snaps, the wolf fangs on his body broke off, transforming into vicious wolves. There were so many that they blanketed the sky, no fewer than several 100,000. As all the wolves raised their heads and were about to howl, the sky turned murky. A blood-red moon began to materialize from thin air. An overwhelming pressure spread out. But he had no chance to fully unleash this third-step technique. As Wang Lin stepped forward, he raised his right hand and pointed at the sky. In an instant, the celestial emperor furnace expanded, enveloping the entire world and blotting out the blood moon, trapping all the vicious wolves inside. The burly man, Zhou Jin, who was being held back by the Spirit Agile Sage, suddenly turned pale. Just as he was about to unleash his full power to resist, his body abruptly trembled. His right hand, poised to complete a seal, could not move any further. Around him, 9 black droplets of water had appeared, each radiating a terrifying aura that made his scalp tingle. He did not dare move. Move, and you die. Wang Lin's cold voice drifted through the air.